Show.
Hello, and welcome to Breaking Ice, Building Bridges. I am Santiago Ramones. Co-hosting with me is...
Peaches.
Awesome.
And we have a lovely lady here with us. Tell us about yourself. Who are you?
My name is Torria, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Happy you're here.
Thanks. Glad to be here, finally.
Right? I know. I feel like we've been talking about getting you in here for
a minute.
Few months now. Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm glad that this worked out. And even though Elizabeth and Violet couldn't be here, I think that we're going to have a great conversation.
Awesome.
So I'm excited.
Here. I am excited. I have an expectation. She was like, go. I was like, I want you there.
It's all about having fun, just making a connection.
It is indeed. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so how did you first get in touch with possibilities, and why are you so enthused and excited to be here?
Well, again, Elizabeth, she was like, I want to introduce you to some people. I want to help you make some connections to the community. And I think that you have something to bring to the community. I said, well, okay, let's go see. Mm-hmm. And so when we came in, we did hear several people share their experiences here. Also, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was just my first time meeting everyone, and everyone was really pleasant. They even provided a snack, a meal, or whatever.
Oh, that was at People's Network?
I believe so. I'm not accurate about that, but just the comfort of wanting to make sure that you find a slot, And so I was like, well, let's see. She's like, I think you'll do good. I was like, let's find out. So that's why I'm here, to see if I have something to bring to the table.
So then what do you think you're bringing to the table? Everyone is talking so highly of you.
Wow.
What are you providing?
I'm a great grandmother, and a mom, and we just never know. You got to pull on my strings and see what I say, what comes up. You know what I'm saying? Because you just never know what needs to be said or spoken. I don't know. So this is, again, my first time, and, I'm just enjoying the space.
And kind of like what we were talking about earlier before coming into the room, it's you have a whole life of experiences that you can share. And like you said just now, pull on one of those strings and let's talk about it, kind of a thing. So, yeah. And I think that, I personally think that people's experiences are really valuable. It's just because they're unique to that person, and you never know what they've been through. And as soon as they start talking about it, then that could hit somebody.
Yeah. You just never know where that need is. I chose this field intentionally. We talked about that earlier. Home health care, or the home health, retiring from business administration. I did it for 28 years, and I love that as well, because I love connecting people, and not always having the answer or the solution, but trying to find out if they're, where do they need to be, and so, and I try to give them really solid. I'm a person, I'm analytical, so I need really solid information, I need facts. You know what I'm saying? It's okay if you don't have all the answers, but just a little bit you tell me, it helps a lot if you tell me the truth, for me. But so I try to give that. We talked about earlier about my experiences with my mom and being a caregiver for her for 6 years. It was really hard. Again, I'm a nurturer, and nurturers can be enablers, and we become caregivers. And it's really easy for us to forget about ourselves a lot, because usually people like that are usually very strong people, And I realized in this experience that I'm thinking and believing, even with the Alzheimer's Association would say, well, you got to do self-care. You got to do self-care. You got to. And I'm like, I'm good, because I do this. They said, no, it's not the same. When you're going into a home, and then you become the home of that parent or that child or spouse, whomever it may be. And they were absolutely correct about that. And so, I believe that just stepping out, getting a pedicure, getting facial, doing something, an hour or 15 minutes, but that really wasn't enough. And I didn't realize it until after my mom transitioned. And now I'm like, what do I do? What's really going on? And as I was sharing with you earlier, realizing that I have forgotten about me emotionally, mentally. I was like, this is different. This don't feel right, because I had given 100 plus 1,000% of myself for real. No matter, nothing else mattered but her being okay and knowing that she was safe and that she was truly loved. And making adjustments like that were completely necessary, So it was really amazing. I've never been without my own residency in all my life. I intentionally was independent, so when you are raising other people's family, your own, et cetera, and it's a big deal, until you won't know until you know, but that was truly an avenue of experiences that I can share with others. Hopefully they won't have to go through some of the pitfalls that I went through. You want to believe that a will is enough. A will is never enough. It's never enough, and it only gives a direction. It speaks, it's a voice on paper, but that's not enough because it needs to be done a little more detail. You know what I'm saying? If you have, it doesn't matter what you have, whatever you consider is a lot. You know what I'm saying? If you have a car, if you have shoes, if you have something, I believe that it needs to, I've learned that you have to do it a different way. And trust makes a difference, makes a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Because only a will gives people permission to go through your stuff at your expense. So stuff like that. I'm talking a lot, but I'm just,
I love it. That's great.
It's real talk though. It's quite an emotional experience. It's nothing to play with.
Well, we're talking about experiences, and I want to hear a little bit more specifically about you and more who you are. What is a moment or an experience that you've been through that really taught you or showed you, revealed to you what you're capable of?
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Let's see. That's quite interesting. Well, in 2000, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I was. And I was sharing with you, I was classified as legally blind, but I've had some experiences, and I'm a woman of faith. So I believe, and I believe that just because I believe, you ain't got to believe. That's how I feel. I don't push off what I believe on a person. I don't do that because I believe that it really needs to be an individual experience, so going through that, and being able to say, my doctors and my neurologists just say, you know what, we can't find any traces. Even though we have all the documentation. So I don't know, stuff like that. I don't know. What else stuff you want to know?
That's one heck of an experience.
No, you have no idea. So quite amazing. Indeed he is, So faith will take you a long way. So just ask me, pull on some strings. I don't know.
Well, so that's sort of an instance where maybe you were taken care of. What showed you how you were able to take care of others?
Oh, wow. At a very young age, I'm very transparent. Okay, so cool. Okay. So as a child, I didn't realize that I was in a biracial family. I didn't realize that, right? And so on my paternal side, I didn't realize my grandmother was Latino. I had no idea until I became an adult. I knew she was different and she was really, really pretty. I was like, you're so pretty. This stuff about her, right? And then again, on the other side, it was the same, similar, blending there. And so I would always take care of her, do things. I would always want to make sure she was okay. your feet hurt. Can I rub them? Can I love on them? Can I fix them? Just any little thing. Can I do your hair? It just was natural for me to take care of people. It's just an instinct. I don't know if I was born that way or not, but that's something I find. I find pleasure in making sure others are okay. But I had to learn that I matter too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, it's just stuff. It's a lot of layers to that. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of layers. And it depends on how much. I think we have to be slow in what we reveal because some things may not be, the timing may be off on those things like that. So just ask me again. I'll try to pray for wisdom while I'm talking. We'll see what's up. Because I may say like, whoa, that woman's different or whatever. So I think we all are different.
Earlier you had mentioned how, taking some time for yourself, take a little pedicure or facial or whatever, like it's nice, but it's not enough.
Not enough.
So what are the things that really recharge you, that make it enough? Because you are spending so much time taking care for others, and then it's not enough to just, people call this a break, but what is your break?
Excuse me, for me, truthfully, and I'm not just saying this, but my faith in God really made a big difference for me. It really, really did. I mean, it didn't matter where I went. It didn't matter if I was in England. It didn't matter if I was in Hawaii. It didn't matter because traveling doesn't give you peace. It doesn't settle anything. Money doesn't do that. Nothing does that. It has to come from a place, from our inner peace. Drugs surely won't do that. And I'm not a person that used drugs or smoke or cigarettes or none of that stuff. So those things wouldn't have worked for me. It was just really an inner peace, and it's still taking time to heal, but the healing is there. And for me, my relationship, and do I have struggles? Yeah. Do I hurt sometimes? Yeah. Do I remember? Yeah. Do I cry? Yeah. Sometimes I do. And a lot of times I don't know what to do. I don't, but here I am, and so for me, I have to pray a lot. It's like, God, I need your help. I don't really know. I trust you, God, and I believe you haven't brought me this far. You're not going to just put more on me than I can bear, even though, God, I don't understand why, really what's going on with me, but I need your help. And then telling others, I'm not okay. Because that used to be hard for me to say, I ain't okay. I don't feel good. Something ain't right here. Something's off here. But I had to learn how to do that, and that helps a lot. You know what I'm saying? And wanting to trust people, not that you can't, because certain things are taboo. It's hard to trust people with stuff like that. Because when you're really strong, they think, you okay? Or you really, I'm like, I don't know if I'm okay or not. But I want to be okay. So I think one day at a time is being okay. Today is a good day, but what is tomorrow going to feel like? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So and something else I've been doing, this is really helping a lot for me, changing the strategy of my words.
What do you mean?
What I mean is, oh my goodness, I hurt myself. Oh my goodness, what's the solution to fixing myself? My finger is bleeding. What do I, just simple little things like that. Say, if, for instance, it may not be a big thing to many, but to me, I think that Oklahoma City drivers are crazy.
We've had discussions about this in the office.
And so I have to say, so I had to learn, what, why are you complaining about it? There's nothing you can do but frustrate yourself. Now, I don't know, some people may not believe in prayer, but the power of prayer, but I do, because I experience a lot of different miracles. Everybody's different, right? So it's each to his own. But I really have had to learn how to find positive affirmations. I really have to say, I have to speak those things or not as though they were and mean it, but I have to believe it, and I have to trust that what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I choose to, if someone hurts me, I've learned to forgive that person, and it feels better. Forgiveness feels better than unforgiveness. Really, love feels better than hatred. You know what I'm saying?
It's like you choose happiness.
You got to choose. what makes you feel healthy, feel better. Because anger don't feel good, but serenity feels better.
There's a gal in our office who she was telling us about when she's driving in her car, she will look to the oncoming side of traffic and she'll start giving points to people, like happiness points. And any of the cars that pass by. And some days she says that she'll do that and that makes her happy because she's imagining herself giving them that positive energy and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then there's other days where she's like, I actually need to take those points back because she needs it. Yeah. But it just depends on the day and it depends on what she needs and what she's able to give too is the other part of that. So I always thought that was fun and a better way of thinking about driving rather than
it is. It really, really is, because a lot of times I look at people and I'm thinking, why are you so angry? Why are you tailgating? Why are you doing that? Why are you
Why are you speeding around?
Speeding and hitting lane from lane? Why are you doing that? And me, I began to think about, well, don't you have a family? Is there not someone that you love? Are you not mindful? So I began to pray. I know it may sound silly, but I began to pray, Father, I ask you now to give that person peace. Don't allow them to run into someone or someone to run into them. And I get concerned because if you're that agitated and you're driving, I'm thinking, where are the police? Or where the police at? Where the police? Because if you're that angry, are you not realizing that that vehicle has become a deadly weapon? What if it's a mother or someone in that vehicle that you sideswipe them, then what? So stuff like that works for me.
I had that conversation with my nephews just this morning in the car because they were asking me about, well, is driving hard, Auntie? And I was like, well, sometimes it's a big responsibility because this is a very, very heavy thing that goes very fast. And I told them, I was like, all I do is make sure that I know the rules and that I follow them. And then if the people around me are having a harder time, then I'm aware of that.
You have to be defensive in your driving. That's right. You really do. So rules do matter. And me, I think, as far as driving, being a trained driver, I see things differently. With the CDLs, at one time I surrendered those, but different things. Training makes a difference. Experience makes a difference too. But everybody's different. So does that make sense?
I think going back to this idea of more of a broad conceptual anger takes a lot more to
more energy to manifest
that you have to hold on to something to hold on to a grudge. We call it holding on to a grudge, and forgiveness is just a letting go. You don't have to, and it's funny because again, we're just taking this example of driving really far, but if you're going to hold on to a grudge, you're going to remember that car and the color and like who you think this person is. And it's like someone cuts you off and you're like, oh, I hope you get to where you're going safely.
Indeed. It's a choice.
Right. Yeah. And you will not remember that car, the color, anything about it ever again. And so, you're taking up more space in your mind, just trying to hold on to this anger for really just someone you probably will never see again.
Ever. Hopefully. And if you do, they're not in a bad way, because we all we should be mindful that we are responsible for one another, especially when we're, like you said, using driving. But I see it and it's concerning to me. To see people that are tailgating one another and speeding and things like those are serious acts to me. And I am concerned about the violence in the land. It matters to me. Why are people so angry?
Yeah. And I think that, I always wonder about why other people are angry, but then it's like, we can't worry about that too much because then we start taking that on ourselves. And it's like, all I can do is like, Byron, our executive director here, he's shown us, because we teach nonviolent communication, and I'd never heard of that before working here. And after getting that and learning about it, and we're like, oh yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense than, because like if somebody is upset and they come at you and they're coming at, like really aggressive and all this other stuff and yelling and blah, 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 and the way that the nonviolent communication works is that you're just like, I see you. I recognize this is what I'm getting from this. Is that correct? And then it kind of stops them. And then they're like, wait, you're listening to me? And it's like, well, no, that's not what I meant. And actually, I meant this. And then it's like, oh, okay. I see that you're saying this. I'm hearing this. Is that correct? And then, it's kind of like bouncing it back and forth until it becomes a constructive conversation instead of like just a yelling match or something that just they're trying to get stuff out and like, blah, blah, which is always nice. And so I haven't had too much practice with it, but I've employed it in certain situations, and it does make the conversations a lot more soothing than
it does, because stuff like that.
Just to indulge my nerdiness a little bit, there's this
be nerdy. That's fine. I do a nerdy.
There's a martial art it's Japanese. It's called Aikido, and it's all about giving the space that people are taking up. It's a martial art that was created for people who don't have a weapon to fight against people who do have a weapon. And so if your enemy has a sword, if you don't have a sword, you can't counter a sword with just your body. You will get sliced. And so instead you get out of the way, allow them to take up the space that they're going to, and then use their momentum to gain the advantage. And so in that way, it's like, if someone's coming at you snarling, like, okay, well, I will let you take up this space that you have to let out. And then you will realize that, okay, well, there's no one here trying to hurt me. And then we can engage together. We can have nonviolent communication now.
And switches. Sometimes you or sometimes just let it be and move away as quickly, as safely as possible, because it's not, but anyway, so it's just a lot of different things.
Humans are so complicated.
I mean, I think we can be at times, but, I'm learning how not to take things so personal. You know what I'm saying? And just saying, okay.
I see that.
I see that.
Life's too short to hold on to that.
Life is really, so I love finding a very calm, pleasant place. You know what I'm saying? And I do that a lot. And it's healthy. It's very healthy for me. And it's working for me.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times when people are, like you're saying, people are so angry these days, and it really doesn't have anything to do with you.
No, usually not. No.
That if someone's just coming up out of nowhere and is just snarling, that has nothing to do with you. They have their own day, their own experiences, their own everything.
I'm just watching the interaction with people. It's not a personal, for me. I don't make things like, oh my God, I don't do that. I don't need to do that, right? But I just, I observe that, and I don't know, really, I don't make a big, it's a big deal because you don't, but I do believe hurting people hurt people. I just need to know, not that I need to know, but I would like to know, God, what is that really all about? And how do we find a balance even in that? You know what I'm saying? Because I see people, I love people. I love to watch people, but, I don't really want to make a big deal out of it because it is my way of doing things, and it's not applicable, for other people. But prayer works for me. Mm-hmm. It works for me. You know what I'm saying? I might observe you having a bad day, and I'll begin to say, Lord, whatever they're going on in their life, would you fix that for them and give them your peace? That's easy. It don't cost me nothing but to pray. Mm-hmm. It costs me nothing, so whatever. Stuff like that.
Peaches, do you have any questions for her or me that you want to get out here?
When you first had your spiritual awakening and you found your faith.
Okay, that's really a deep question.
I know. I feel like I'm going real personal.
Are you sure you wouldn't want to open that door? That's fine.
A young woman? Were you a young child? Were you older?
Let's talk about that. I like that. I like that question. That's a really good question for me. I believe that we are created to be right? Okay. Since you asked me about the spiritual side of me. And so I'm a person that struggled with having dreams and visions and being able to, as a young child, pray for people. It's my thing. I like to pray. I don't know why it just is. And so each of us, I believe, are born with a different gifting or whatever. We don't know why. And so at a very young age, I was aware. But then at a very young age, I became afraid to have true identity. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't always be really truthful with people because people don't really know what that means. You know what I'm saying? You know, if I say that, I just want to pray for you. I see something going on. I don't know. They'd be like, oh, boy, you spooky. Are you weird? So you have to learn how to carry balance when you're a sensitive, an empath. You have to be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? How you share that type of information. So for me, I was a very young child. I, would have dreams. And like I said, praying for people was my thing. And it always has been, no matter what I went through. And it's been a part of my foundation. It helps me land mentally and emotionally, It just does. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And I know I was baptized Christian, but I don't go to church anymore because I found that my own spiritual thing is more, I like it just being me. I like it being very personal, and I don't really share a whole lot of my connection to my faith in that way, but I do go to like meditation groups, and I do things like that are more group-based kind of stuff. Yeah.
Centered.
Mm-hmm. And a part of that, like, you can't get outside of a group setting. Like, there's certain things that you can learn and glean that you wouldn't get just by yourself.
Yeah, you do need that. It's you need I believe we need one another in some form, in a healthy way, though. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you, Santiago, would be, I know that I don't think you're a religious person, are you? No. So what do you do to find your inner peace?
Yeah, so there's a variety of things. There's sort of a catharsis towards peace. And then there's a silence towards peace. So catharsis towards peace, I'm a musician. And so I enjoy playing music or singing, playing guitar, playing drums. And that is sort of letting out the inner scream. And so, it's good to have that and let that out. But then there's the silence to peace. And so some meditation and some just writing things down and being what's bumming me out, what am I thinking, and being specific and being, okay, what's actually, because it can feel like, oh, there's so much, the world and the everything. But whenever you actually slow down enough to break it down and be like, well, it's this, this, and this, and this, and this. And it's like, sure, that might be a long list of like 7 things or whatever, but it's only 7 things. It's not 100 things. It's not 1,000 things. It's okay. Well, this is manageable.
I like that.
So yeah, being specific and knowing myself well enough to know where I'm at and what I'm dealing with. But, it can take some effort to carve out the space to have that time to make
the
sure
self-reflection.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so sometimes all you get is a scream. And so, yeah, it's nice to have the screams as well.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not religious, and nor am I traditional, but I do. It's necessary, as you said, that find that inner peace, whatever that may be, and make sure that it has to be a connection. I think there, because if you don't believe, you got to believe in something. I'm thinking. I mean,
even if it could be the absence of
whatever it is. Whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Each to his own, I believe. You see?
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. And so I don't push what I believe. This is the way it should be. I don't do that. I don't do that. Chill out.
No.
You know, but just love me where I'm at.
Individual, and it's so personal, and it's
respect that space.
yeah.
And that's what works for me. Mm-hmm. It does.
Well, I think this has been a really beautiful conversation.
I agree.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you guys for having me. That was really interesting.
And thank you, listeners, for listening in. This has been Breaking Ice, Building Bridges.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye, you guys. Thanks for listening.
Connecting a community through conversation.
Breaking Ice, Building Bridges is the Possibilities community podcast platform. Thanks for tuning in.